You didn't click this message. This message claimed you. It came for your spirit, not your screen. A sacred force moving through timelines and algorithms, piercing through the noise of your world to reach you in this exact breath. Right now. This very moment. Not a second before. Not a second too late. This is not a video. It is a divine dispatch. A voice from the high realms calling your spirit into remembrance. Your awareness is being stirred because something, or someone, is moving toward you. And heaven needs you ready. There is no coincidence in divine timing. Archangel Michael warns, someone you care about is about to reach out. Don't miss this. These words are not a warning in fear, but in preparation. The one your soul once wept over, the one you still feel in strange dreams or passing sums is stirring. Your spirit is moving. Their energy is nearing. But this time, it comes not to pull you under, but to offer you clarity, closure, or completion. Heaven has chosen this window in time for you to be unblinded. This message didn't show up late. It arrived in perfect alignment with your awakening. You felt the pressure building in your chest, in your mind, in your atmosphere. Time has felt strange. People have acted strange. And lately, your dreams have shifted. This is spiritual interception. A divine halt placed between you and someone else. Not to punish, but to protect. You were paused. Pulled aside. Guarded by unseen hands. There are timelines you were being shielded from entering. Paths you almost walked that weren't yet safe. That someone is trying to reach you, but not all reaching hands are clean. Heaven placed its hand over your life to stall what was never meant to rush in. And so now, I speak. I am Archangel Michael, guardian of warriors, defender of divine order, and messenger of revelation. I come with the heavenly host behind me. Your ancestors walk in agreement. Your higher self has long waited for this clarity. You have seen the signs, the flickers, the feathers, the repeated names, the momentary chills that made no sense. They made sense to us, and we have been circling you like a fortress, guiding, guarding, preparing. This is not just insight. This is intervention. There is a thinning in the atmosphere now. Masks are slipping. Souls are stirring. Words are being formed on tongues that once stayed silent. There is a divine acceleration moving. What once hid in shadows now burns to be seen. Something is coming to the surface, and you must be spiritually awake to discern it. The person you cared for is about to make a move, a reach, a message, or return. But what they carry may be more than you expect. You must know what energy it comes wrapped in. Stay until the end. Don't look away. Don't scroll past. The reason Archangel Michael brings this warning is not to scare your heart, but to ready it. You are not being haunted by the past. You are being prepared for a confrontation with truth. One final unveiling stands between your current self and your next elevation. This is the moment your soul has waited for, and the voice of heaven is speaking through this transmission to ensure you don't miss what's coming next. You're not imagining this. The sudden weight in your spirit, the feeling that something is shifting, not just around you but toward you, the strange silence before a sound, the energy that says, "Get ready." I am Archangel Michael, and I bring this divine interception with full authority from the heavenly realms. You have been summoned into this moment not by curiosity, but by divine orchestration. Your name was called in the Spirit. Your atmosphere has been stirred by angelic hands. This message, this very message, is your sacred alarm. Here is a countdown ticking in the unseen. a spiritual moment forming on the horizon. Someone tied to your heart, is preparing to reach out. It may come as a message, a call, a memory stirred into the present, or a face you haven't seen in ages. But it will not be casual. It will not be random. The heavens have been watching the weight this person has held in your life. And now, as the scales shift, they move again, not just because they miss you, but because your light has pulled their shadow forward. Let me be clear, you are not being haunted, you are being tested. What approaches carries energy. It carries intention. Some parts may be honest, others manipulated. It is not for your emotions to decide, but your discernment. And that is why this message was delivered before the moment arrives. So you can listen from spirit, not reaction. So you can see beyond the surface. Because this contact, this reach will wear the mask of something familiar. But heaven wants you to examine what's hidden beneath. This is your divine interruption. Everything in your life is being recalibrated, not because you failed, but because heaven is removing the fog. You've been walking through confusion, trying to make peace with spiritual chaos. But something inside you has awakened. You've been sensing the stir, the dreams, the faces, the deep fatigue followed by a sudden burst of clarity. These are not random symptoms. They are your spirit preparing for spiritual confrontation. The moment someone attempts to re-enter your life is not an accident. It is a test of alignment. You were not meant to wander blindly into this. That's why this message is arriving before they do. That's why this voice is sounding from the heavens through this screen. You are being warned, not out of fear, but out of divine favor. Archangel Michael does not enter your atmosphere casually. When I speak, the heavens are watching. When I speak, spiritual lines are being drawn. And I tell you now, someone is on the verge of returning. But their return is not the restoration. It is the revelation. You were summoned to this moment. You were pulled into sacred awareness. And now, the Spirit says, prepare your heart. Don't mistake the reach for redemption. Don't confuse the voice for validation. What's coming next is not just a conversation. It's a choice. And heaven wants your soul unshaken. Stay close. Because this reach out will either confirm your breakthrough or attempt to pull you back into a cycle. And the way you respond will determine what unfolds next. If this message resonates in your spirit, type 444 in the comments to anchor divine protection and clarity. Archangel Michael surrounds you now. The veil is lifting, and the warning has begun. There has been a weight wrapped around your energy, a delay you could not name. You've questioned yourself, doubted your clarity, tried to pray through the fog, only to feel like you were circling the same questions again and again. That wasn't confusion. It wasn't forgetfulness. It was interference. There has been a spiritual interference, a presence that cloaked itself in warmth, in support, in love. But it came with hidden motives. You knew something was off. You just couldn't prove it. Until now. The one who is about to reach out may have once claimed to care for you. Perhaps they even showed moments of genuine light. But layered beneath their smile was something else, an energetic hunger, a spiritual jealousy, or a pattern of control masked as care. They weren't always aware of it themselves, but their spirit recognized yours and tried to consume what they could not become. They saw your light as a mirror to their shadows. You thought you were building a bond, but they were building a web, a soul tie, a tether disguised disconnection. They were sent, or allowed, to disrupt your path, not permanently, but as a lesson you had to awaken through. You not second-guess your intuition. You knew something was wrong. You felt the energetic drain, the constant need to prove yourself, the way you kept triggering your spirit to give peace. That was never alignment. It was entrapment. And now, heaven is pulling back the veil. I, Archangel Michael, am swinging the sword of truth across your path. The illusion is breaking. The old spell is lifting. And when they reach out, they will no longer have the same power over you. Because you see now what you did then. That not everyone who misses you is meant to return to you. Understand this. It was calculated. Not by their conscious mind, always, but by the energy that clung to them. There are forces that attach to people, forces of fear, of lack, of control. They saw your light and tried to dim it so they wouldn't feel so small. This wasn't confusion, it was calculation. Every compliment wrapped in comparison. Every apology soaked in manipulation. Every reunion followed by disconnection. You weren't being loved. You were being drained. But now the disguise has lost its hold. Your soul is rising out of the fog. Do not blame yourself. What you mistook for loyalty was love in the wrong direction. You held on not because you were weak, but because you were strong, strong enough to believe in others, strong enough to give grace. But now the heavens are saying, enough. You do not owe loyalty to those who mask their sabotage and concern. This is not about revenge. This is about revelation. You were meant to see this clearly. You were meant to understand the energetic story behind your delays. This is divine closure. What they did, what they said, what they withheld, it delayed your clarity, not your destiny. And now you are awakening to the truth. That even those we love can sometimes be used by energies they don't understand. But you are not meant to be trapped in their confusion. You are meant to be free. This is your moment of rising. And when they reach out, remember, their words may sound familiar, but you are no longer the same. Heaven has stripped the illusion. If this truth found you in the middle of silent questioning, type 777 in the comments. This is your confirmation. Divine exposure has begun, and Archangel Michael stands guard over your awakening. You thought it was just a dream, but heaven was speaking. You thought it was just a number you kept seeing, but your angels were aligning the message. You've been living inside a spiritual symphony of signs, and the time has come for you to understand what they truly meant. None of it was random. Not the recurring names. Not the flickering lights. Not the sudden silence that crept into your days. These were divine signals, sacred whispers from the realm beyond the veil, coded for your spirit, waiting for you to remember. How many times did you wake between 3 and 4 in the morning, your heart racing, a name or memory lingering in your chest? That was not insomnia. That was a spiritual alarm. Heaven was trying to wake you, not just physically, but spiritually. The time 3:33. The number 111. A surge of 555. These weren't coincidences. They were confirmations. Signs encoded in your reality to get your attention. Angels are not bound by language. They speak through frequency, through synchronicity, through numbers. You were being told, watch. Someone is moving toward you. The dreams, yes, the dreams. Snakes fired ocean closed door. These are not just symbols. They are scrolls written in the language of the subconscious. Snakes slithering through your dreams. Deception was nearby. Fire rising around you. Your spirit was being purified. Water swallowing your steps. Emotional entanglement was trying to drown you. doors opening or closing with no one behind them. Portals of destiny were being guarded for you. Heaven has been using your dreams to prepare your soul for a moment of reckoning. And that moment is always here. And the animals, the birds that flew too close, the black cats you noticed twice in one day, the butterflies that landed and lingered longer than they should. The bird was a message, the cat, a warning, the butterfly, a sign that transformation was already underway, not just around you, but within you. Even objects breaking, mirrors, electronics, lights flickering, they weren't accidents. They were energetic disruptions. Spirit was shaking the physical to make sure you'd feel the shift. You're not losing your mind. You're regaining your awareness. Those sudden waves of exhaustion in the middle of the day, followed by moments of strange peace. That was your body integrating spiritual downloads. The heat in your palms, the chills that moved across your back with no wind, the whisper you thought you heard when no one was there. All of it was real. All of it was divine. You were never alone in this. Archangel Michael was standing near, guarding your mind while your soul awakened. The signs were not to scare you. They were to prepare you. For this, for the reach out, for the moment when the person who once carried your heart returns with a voice, a message, or a moment. But heaven needed you spiritually awake, so that when the voice arrives, you can finally hear the truth inside the words. So you can see what the surface hides. And this time you will know exactly what to do. Thank you for being part of our growing faith community. If our videos uplift and bless you, consider supporting our mission through super thanks, super chat, or memberships. Your generosity helps us share God's word with more hearts around the world. Every gift, big or small, makes a difference. If the signs and sensations described here mirrored your own experience, type 333 in the comments. That is your alignment code. You're not imagining things, you're being spiritually activated. You don't have to force the truth to rise. It's already breaking through. You don't have to beg for clarity. Heaven has already assigned it to your timeline. The person who is about to reach out is not just returning with emotion. They are returning with exposure. What they once tried to hide, they can no longer contain. The energy they carried behind your back is now rising to confront you face to face. And what was once masked in mystery will now be drenched in divine light. It may start as a checking-in message. It may come in the form of an apology, a memory, or a subtle reappearance. But do not be deceived by the softness of the surface, for this moment is not a reunion. It is a revelation, a sacred confrontation wrapped in a familiar voice. They may say, "I've been thinking about you," or "You've been on my mind," but what they don't say will speak louder than any text or tone. The vibration behind their words, it's where the truth will live. You don't need to search their intentions, just feel them. You've been trained by spirit to discern vibration over vocabulary. Watch the way their words feel in your stomach. Observe what your spirit does after the message arrives. Do you feel peace? Or does your body tense up again? That's not anxiety. That's your spiritual radar activating. This moment is not for panic. It's for positioning. You are not required to respond, only to recognize. Because when divine unmasking begins, your only job is to remain in alignment, not reaction. Heaven has already begun moving on your behalf. There are conversations you haven't heard yet, decisions being made about you in unseen spaces. The person approaching you is being stirred by more than emotion. They are being pulled by spiritual consequence. What they hid is unraveling. What they denied is surfacing. Their mask is falling, not by your will, but by divine order. And the moment they step toward you, the moment they attempt contact, you will feel it, the heaviness of exposure. Do not rush in with emotion. Do not silence your spirit to protect theirs. This is not about punishing them. This is about finally seeing, and without the illusion. The truth may not come through confession. It may come through contradiction. A slip in their story. A tone that doesn't match the words. A strange look in their eyes. This is spiritual X-ray vision being gifted to you now. What was once hidden behind charm will now be loud in their energy. The mask is falling, and you are ready to see. You waited long enough for clarity. You've cried for it, pleaded for it. And now that it's coming, heaven is asking you, don't rescue what you were meant to release. When they reach out, remember, the message is not the point. The energy is. The timing is. The truth that rises from the reach is what you've been waiting for. Let it come. Let it reveal. Let it free you. If you're ready to see through spiritual eyes and witness the unmasking without fear, type 999 in the comments. That is the code of endings of exposure and of divine justice. The mask is falling, and your vision is clear. You lost more than words can name, and heaven knows it. Time slipped through your fingers like smoke. Pieces of your light were poured into someone who was never ready to hold it. You gave, you trusted, you forgave, and still, they took more than they offered. Not just in action, but in energy. What was stolen from you was sacred. Peace of mind, momentum, confidence, clarity. You were delayed not because you lacked wisdom, but because you gave love to a soul still cloaked in confusion. You were building while they were draining. You were praying while they were pretending. And still, you stayed longer than your spirit wanted to, because hope is powerful, and your heart is loyal. But now that truth is rising, you must face this reality. Some of the weariness in your spirit isn't yours. It's the residue of prolonged interference. Your spirit has been tired from carrying burdens disguised as bonds. And your delay was never punishment. It was preservation. Heaven slowed certain doors from opening because you were still tied to hands that weren't clean. Your path was not canceled, only rerouted. You didn't lose the promise. It simply paused until the environment could match your assignment. There are blessings that were withheld not to deprive you, but to protect you from receiving them under the wrong covering. Can you imagine the spiritual cost of receiving favor while still connected to betrayal? Heaven knows the weight of that consequence. And so, the angels stood still. I waited. They guarded your destiny like a sealed vault. And now, because you've seen, because you're awake, the seals are breaking. You did feel the cost, the loneliness, the missed opportunities, the inner war between staying and walking away. You cried in rooms where no one saw you. You kept smiling when your soul was screaming. And heaven was watching, not absent, but intervening in ways you couldn't see. Delays are not denials in the kingdom. They are detours that lead to deeper wisdom. This was your recalibration, your spiritual rewiring, your divine reset. You were not forgotten. You were being fortified. Now, let your spirit shift. Let the sorrow turn into expectancy. You are not walking into restoration as the same person who was broken. You are walking in as someone sharpened by fire. Someone who no longer gives sacred energy to temporary visitors. Someone who understands that not every delay is a loss. Some delays are life preservers from a drowning timeline. What you thought was stolen will return multiplied. What you thought you missed will find you again, this time with peace. What was taken was not the end of your story. It was the setup for divine justice. And now, heaven is moving in your favor. Your time, your energy, your joy, it's all being restored. Not just emotionally, but spiritually and materially. What once slipped through your hands is being placed back into them, but with new boundaries, new vision, and divine covering. Your spirit is no longer porous. It is fortified, and your future is no longer delayed. It is aligned. If you are ready to receive back what was taken, with interest in divine timing, type 888 in the comments. That is the number of divine compensation and overflow. Your delay is ending, and your restoration is beginning. Can you feel it? The release that has no words. The sudden clarity that arrives without explanation. The moment your breath deepens for no reason. That is the breakthrough, not always loud, but always holy. You are stepping into the sacred stillness after the storm. This is not a climax of chaos. It is the quiet of completion. The interference had been revealed. The mask has fallen. The old soul tie is no longer pulling you under. And in its place, there is peace. A deep, soul-level peace that tells you the cycle is truly over. Your spirit feels different now, doesn't it? There's no longer a need to chase answers. There's no longer a desire to re-explain yourself. What once shook you now feels distant, not forgotten, but released. That's not detachment. That's deliverance. You've broken through a spiritual ceiling. The weight that once held you in loops, reliving memories, questioning your worth, replaying conversations, it's no longer attached. Heaven severed what you didn't have the strength to cut alone. And the moment you chose to see clearly, the chains began to fall. Sometimes liberation doesn't feel like a shout. Sometimes it feels like stillness. You no longer need to respond. You no longer crave closure. You have become the closure. What they withheld, heaven is now replacing with divine wisdom. What they delayed, the Spirit is now accelerating. You stepped into energetic sovereignty, where no one can access your light without permission. This is not emotional numbness. This is sacred discernment. You're not harder. You're holier. They may go silent now, and that silence is not absence but answer. Let them vanish. Let the energy dissipate. Do not chase what heaven removed. That silence is the proof that your vibration has shifted. You no longer live in the same emotional frequency they once manipulated. The storm they used to stir in you now falls flat. Your nervous system is healing. Your heart is expanding, but with wisdom this time. You are no longer available for what drains you. Let it fall away. The memories, the guilt, the fear that you're leaving someone behind. You are not abandoning anyone. You are returning to yourself. You're re-inhabiting your own spirit. The version of you that gave too much is no longer leading. The version of you that doubted their own insight is no longer deciding. The highest self has arrived, and the shift you feel is the inner crown being placed back upon your head. This moment is sacred. It doesn't need fanfare. You don't have to announce it, but your aura will carry it. Your eyes will reflect it. Your energy will enforce it. This shift won't be loud. It will be sacred. You are walking in clarity now. You are breathing from the center of your soul. You are no longer seeking signs of their return. You are aligned with the signs of your becoming. And from this space, nothing unaligned can stay. If you feel this sacred shift within you, type 111 in the comments. That is the number of spiritual alignment and new beginnings. You are in the shift now, and nothing can pull you back. Just when you think the storm has passed, the sky will test you with one last cloud. Just when your spirit settles into peace, the past will knock on your heart, not always with malice, but with memory. This is not coincidence. This is the final test. That soul, the one you've just been freed from, may return again. With softer words, with a quieter tone. Not to confess but to reconnect. Not to heal but to hook you. This is not a warning of fear. This is a spiritual alert. You are being tested, not tempted. They may come back with a new voice, claiming they've changed. They may speak in language that mirrors your growth, pretending to walk the same path. But you must look deeper. They've studied you. They know your triggers. They know how to craft apologies that sound like healing, but taste like illusion. This time, they won't return with anger. They'll return with emotional strategy. Don't fall for the performance. They may offer peace, but it's poison. They may appear gentle, but the energy behind it still carries old shadows. This is not restoration. This is a recircling. And you must discern the difference. Restoration brings peace, not confusion. Clarity, not contradiction. Elevation, not emotional regression. The final test is always wrapped in the thing you once desired most. Attention. Validation. Redemption. But it is not your soul's job to correct someone else's timing. You've already done the work. You've already been released. You not re-enter a prison simply because the door swings open again. Not every open door is divine. Some are traps dressed as invitations. Remember who you are now. You are not who you were the last time they reached for you. Your spirit has been rebuilt. Your clarity has been sharpened. And your discernment is your sword. The voice of nostalgia will try to blur your vision, but you must stay rooted in what heaven already revealed. Silence is your power now. You do not need to explain why you're not answering. You do not need to reopen what spirit has already closed. They are not returning for your freedom. They are returning to test it. And if they cry, if they confess, if they say everything you once longed to hear, listen with your soul, not your sympathy. Their return is not the proof of your worth. Your survival without them is. They see the glow in you now. They feel the strength you carry. And part of their reach is not love, but curiosity. How did you become this without me? But do not entertain ghosts. Do not light candles for what has already passed. The cycle is closed. The lesson is sealed. You owe no entry to what wounded you once. Let the test come. Let the message be sent. Let them wonder. And when you feel the urge to respond, remember, some connections are sent to test your silence, not your speech. Some closures happen not through conversation, but through obedience. You've already seen behind the mask. You've already felt the pull of your breakthrough. Do not hand the pen of your story back to the one who dropped it. If you feel the test approaching and you are ready to pass it in power, type 555 in the comments. That is the number of divine shift and spiritual courage. The final test is near, but your freedom is stronger. You have seen behind the veil. You have walked through the fog. You have endured the silence, the sabotage, the shadowed tests, and now you stand at the edge of full restoration. What was hidden hath been exposed. What delayed you has been dismantled. What drained you has been disconnected. And now, the light of truth is falling over every corner of your past. This message was not just information. It was spiritual armor. You have been equipped, not to fight, but to stand. not to react but to rise. Let it be declared, the mask has fallen. The sabotage has ended. The final test has arrived, and you are ready. You now carry the sight to discern energy, the authority to hold your peace, and the spiritual strength to walk away without guilt. This is not just your survival. This is your elevation. What was meant to entangle you has become the very platform of your empowerment. Heaven has spoken, and the cycle has been broken. Speak these words into your space. I am aligned with heaven's order. I no longer chase what drains me. I attract what honors me. The soul tie is broken. The illusion is gone. The energy is cleared. I walk forward in truth, unchained, undistracted, and untouchable. My peace is my power. My silence is sacred. My future is protected. Your restoration has already begun, not just in your heart, but in your atmosphere. The blessings that were paused are now moving again. The energy that was stolen is being returned. What was once delayed is now being delivered. You are not who you were, and the heavens rejoice over the light you refused to let die. I, Archangel Michael, stand in divine witness. The breakthrough is real. The shift is done, and what's ahead will never again carry the confusion of what's behind. Type Amen and your angel number 111 333 555 in the comments if you receive this message. Seal it. Speak it. Anchor it. The energy is cleared. The cycle is broken. Your next chapter begins now.